And let's call a spade from a Chiefs fan. Let's just say what it is. If Tyreek Hill was on the Chiefs and him, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce did what the Dolphins just did, 28 points in the fourth, deep ball after deep ball to Tyreek Hill. If both of them had 2 touchdowns and close to 200 yards, if Pat had 469 yards and 28 points in the fourth, like I said, the internet will be on fire. Yo, man. Welcome back to another episode of For the Love of the Game, the podcast. Week 2 of the NFL season has officially ended, so you know why we here. You know what I'm saying? We got the recaps. It was a very underrated week of football. Week 2 was a very underrated week of football. I would say it was a week of the comebacks. You know, we had a lot of games, players or teams ended up coming back in, a lot of wild finishes. All right, that was just a little side note. Now let's get into the show for real. Is the Super Bowl hangover real? Is a Super Bowl hangover a real thing? Because you look at it, you got teams who made it to the Super Bowl. In this case, you got the Rams, right? They lose a couple key pieces. We're going to hit on all that a little later. But they come out there 1-1. The Bengals are 0-2. And for the Rams, they come out week 1. They got a tough loss against a good Buffalo Bills team. It was 31-10. You're fresh off a Super Bowl. We don't want to make too much of it, but it was 31-10. Then week 2, they're up at 1.28-3 with like 3 minutes left in the third quarter. And that ends up being a 31-27 game that they do win, but it was 31-27. Atlanta did come back. All right. With that being said, I want to address Jalen Ramsey. I'm him. End of the game. Super hype. He did get a game sealing pick, right? And with like a minute something left. So it sealed the game. I understand it. All I'm saying is y'all were up 28-3. You did get beat on a couple plays. You did get hit with a double move earlier in the game, and you got a defensive pass interference. I love Jalen Ramsey. I still take him as the number 1 corner in the league. What I'm saying is, y'all were up 28-3. You did get a PI call. You did get beat on a couple routes. Don't get a game-winning interception and then yell and say, I'm him. I understand the emotions. I understand it all. I'm just saying, I don't like the look of it. The I'm him is more of like big play against a big opponent, whatever. But to each his own, Now, the Rams, it's only week 2. Everything, when y'all watch the show long enough, when y'all get to know me, everything up to like week 9, week 8 is an overreaction. Week 2, we are overreacting, okay? None of this means anything in the scheme of a long season. Arizona Cardinals last season started 7-0, didn't make the playoffs. Season before started 6-1, didn't make the playoffs. None of that matters, okay? It's a long 17-week football season. But the Rams are off to a 1-1 start, and they lost Sebastian Day. They also lost Von Miller. They lost Odell, possibly, and Andrew Whitworth retired. That, along with just another, maybe not the most big-name players, but still played a valuable role in this team. Also, they did pick up Allen Robinson. They did pick up Bobby Wagner. So I'm just saying, they lost people. The team, needs to get back on track. Also, if you remember a little bit, when Odell got there, they lost their first 2 games with Odell. It took them a while to get rolling with Odell, and then they won out. So, I mean, everything takes time. But coming off a Super Bowl, 31-10, lost to the Bills in the first week of the season. And then you come back week 2, you play the Falcons. Y'all are up big, and then y'all only win that by 4. So you get a scare by the Falcons, who are arguably one of the worst teams in the NFL, right? And then let's flip over to their opponents, of course, the Bengals. 0-2, okay? 0-2, but not just your regular 0-2, a terrible 0-2. A loss to Pittsburgh, the Mitchell Trubisky-led Pittsburgh Steelers. Really the TJ Watt-led Pittsburgh Steelers, because they're definitely relying on their defense like there's no other choice to have. But offensively, Pittsburgh put 23 on you. It was 23-20. Granted, the Bengals did miss some kicks that would have won them the game. Granted, the Bengals were locked down majority of the game. They came alive late. I get it all. Pittsburgh put 23 on them. In the highest points they scored that quarter, the Bengals, that game, were 8. So that means they went forward and got a 2-point conversion. That was it. The Bengals are a high-octane offense. They score a lot of points. They move the ball. They get a lot of yards. 8 points in a quarter, they're usually doubling up. They're usually scoring a touchdown or 2. So they scored 8 points in a quarter. Joe Burrow was picked 4 times that game. He was sacked 7 times. Burrow threw the ball 53 times in week 1. 53 times in week 1 is not how you want to come out and start the season. I don't care who you are, right? Then we follow that up with just this past Sunday, a terrible loss to the Cowboys, a 17-20 loss to Cooper Rush. The Cooper Rush led Cowboys. Now, let me move down a little bit here. Let's not do that because Dallas is defense, okay? If Dallas's formula, which it is to rely on their defense, rely on their playmakers, and have the offense score about 20 points, about 17 points, and you play a game from there, the Cowboys can be in good hands until Dak comes back. The problem is, can that hold up all this? This is not even part of what I'm hitting at. But Burrow threw for 199 yards, 1 touchdown. He was sacked 6 times. Joe Burrow has been sacked 13 times through these first 2 weeks, and they brought in help on the O-line. Unless we are all watching a different Bengals team, you tell me where the help is. You also tell me, is the Super Bowl hangover real? 0-2 for the Bengals, 2 bad losses. A bad loss for the Rams, almost another bad loss for them, but they're able to even it up at 1 apiece. Hey, you just tell me a Super Bowl hangover real. Now, let's get into a week of football. All right, let's start Thursday, Chiefs versus Chargers. As a Chiefs fan, I get nervous every time we play the Chargers, right? They are just a team that play us extremely well, which they do, which you've seen. They always have success on us. It doesn't matter. Mike Williams always have success on us, okay? So we're now they have a capable defense, a very capable defense, right? So I don't know what to expect heading into the game, but what I do know is that the Chargers outplayed the Chiefs in every possible category, all right? 21-15 first downs in favor of the Chargers. 74-54 plays for the Chargers. They ran 20 more plays. So that'll tell you a little something about time of possession that they had. 401 yards to 319 total yards. They had 100 more passing yards. Okay? This is the one thing. I said a stat in my last video that we were podding last week, and I said the Chargers had lost a combined 13 games in the previous 2 years by a touchdown or less. Okay? And here's the reason why. Rather the offense gets rolling late and the defense can't make that one final stop, or the Chargers have a knack for turning the ball over. This game is about the turnover, of course, and missed opportunities. So, of course, we get to the turnover. We're gonna touch that last. But when we go missed opportunities, this game was 17-7 for a big part of that second half, right? For at least half of the third quarter, 2 possessions that they had, it was 17-7. Chances for you to go march it down, even put 3. Okay, even 3 will get you 20, but you really want to go down, put a touchdown, you go 24-7. They got the ball coming out of half when it was 17-7. All right, so then when you look at the fact that there's that one mistake, Pat Mahomes threw about 3 interceptions, I think it was. He threw 2, a possible third. All of them were penalties. The one on Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you can call, maybe it wasn't a penalty, maybe it was. More ways is a veteran move to make it look like it was a penalty. You know, we have the benefit of replay. The refs don't have that. So every interception that they had, it got called back, right? So now not only are you taking the ball away, but there's a penalty. Asante Samuel has a pick when it's 17-7. Another major play that could have changed the landscape of this game. Ball touches the turf. He can't fully secure the interception. Chiefs go down later that drive and score to make it 17-14. So the Chargers, yes, they have all the talent. They have everything you need defensively. What they weren't able to do in this game, in the determining factor, is that they weren't able to get off the field. They weren't able to make those big plays and just have them be made. Every time they made a big play, there was a flag, so no one cared. Okay? Then, literally, one play determined this whole game. Sure, Gerald Everett was tired. Okay, cool. More whiz, that turnover by Herb, right? And he outplayed Pat Mahomes in every category except one. And it's crazy. It's a game of inches. That is what turned the game. Justin Herbert was 33 for 48, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Okay? I have it right here. The Chargers must complete games. And not even this game, but it tells it the past 2 years that 13 games were decided by a touchdown or less. You have to finish games, right? And then you could go, the fact that Mike Williams had 30 receiving yards in the second half. Total, he had 8 receptions, 113 yards, and 1 touchdown. But what I'm saying is the Chargers must complete games. You got to play a full game of football. The first half was lights out from Herbert, from Mike Williams, from all them. In the second half, they had 4 punts and an interception. The only time they scored was on their first and their last drive of the game. Okay, in the second half. So first half is all lights out. Second half, you score on your first drive, and then you score on the last drive. There's a lot of ball left to be played right in between there. The Chiefs capitalized right in between that area. And that's what championship teams do. I've said it. I don't even know if I necessarily need to hit on the Chiefs just because there wasn't anything phenomenal, right? Except the defense, right? Maybe that is a strong point, or maybe that's something to lean on for the Chiefs. They were down 17-7. Defense held it down on multiple 3rd and shorts, on a couple 4th and 1s. They held it down. But if you are a championship team like the Chiefs are, you got to find ways to win games, right? It's plain and simple. You got to find ways to win games. That's what they did. I mentioned everything they got outplayed in, but they did not lose on the scoreboard. They ended up winning by 3. It's a game of inches. One thing they were able to do was not turn the ball over. Chargers turned the ball over. Not only did they turn the ball over, they turned it over and gave up a touchdown in the same play. That is the worst thing that could happen, okay? But shout out Chargers. They're going to be a force, okay? And now let's shift gears to the Dolphins versus Ravens. I have one question. Early on when it was 24-0, Ravens were up, all my Twitter feed was pay Lamar, pay the man, pay him what he deserved. I'm not saying don't pay Lamar. What I'm saying is it was 31-14 late, right? Or was it 35-21 at the start of the fourth? I think it was 35-21 at the start of the fourth, but that touchdown to Tyreek Hill came late in the third, really late. So it's about 35-14. And the Dolphins went on to score 28 points in that fourth quarter. The Dolphins then go on and win the game. And my overall question is it still pay Lamar? I just want to know that, because now Lamar don't play defense, but this game did shift on a pivotal 4th and 1 at Miami's 40. And after that, the game was never the same. And this is my thing. It's cute when John Harbaugh is, Lamar, do you want to go for it? Lamar like, hell yeah, let's do it, coach. And then they run the QB draw, and they get it on 4th and 1. They do that against the Seahawks. Big win. They knock off Russ. They do that against the 49ers, right? Big defense over there. They do that. Oh, yeah. It's pretty. It's cute when that happens. It's not cute when it's 4th and 1. And now, as of late, they not getting that as often because nobody's worried about the threat of Lamar Jackson throwing on 4th and 1. We know this is going to be a keeper, and we know he's going to use his athleticism, his speed, his quickness, all that to pick up this 1 or 2 yards. My thing is that if you just, did a read option, or if you, just did something to get Lamar a little more comfortable where y'all throwing on some of those 4th and 1, 4th and 2 situations, I feel like defenses will be more liable to, to fall for it or to wonder what's going on. But with that, like I said, Lamar don't play defense, okay, so he couldn't do nothing about that. But one thing I do like, let me pull it up, Lamar Jackson's tweet after the game, he said, good shit, Miami Dolphins. And then he said, Ravens, we gonna bounce back. And there's a meme of the kid with the Derek Jeter hat, and he was saluting, he was saluting Derek Jeter on this last game. It was the kid. Because truthfully, what can you say about that, right? To me, Lamar, he won his bag. He deserves his bag. Let me say that. He's an MVP. He's one of the top 5 best quarterbacks in the league. All I'm saying is do something for your squad to help put that game away. Get them in field goal range, score a touchdown, pick up that first down on 4th and 1. Do something, right, that's going to help your team win that game. I feel like he didn't do that, so that was just my only knock. But can you argue with the Dolphins scoring 28 points in the fourth quarter? Can you argue with the fact that Tua was 36 for 50, 469 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions? Jalen Waddle had 11 catches, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. Make sure y'all heard that because Tyreek Hill's stats are very similar. Don't get them confused. Tyreek Hill had 11 catches, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. This is my favorite part. Jalen Waddle was targeted 19 times. Tyreek Hill was targeted 13 times. Tua threw the ball 50 times. You know what I mean? 26 of them. 26 of the times he threw it. So more than half of the time he threw it was going to Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I love that. You know what I mean? I used to say it. I love it when A-Rod would do it to Devontae Adams. I love it now. I hope they can keep this up. And let's call a spade from a Chiefs fan. Let's just say what it is. If Tyreek Hill was on the Chiefs and him, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce did what the Dolphins just did, 28 points in the fourth, deep ball after deep ball to Tyreek Hill. If both of them had 2 touchdowns and close to 200 yards, if Pat had 469 yards and 28 points in the fourth, like I said, the internet will be on fire. I don't think the internet was that on fire when Tua did it. I'm not sure why, but what I'm saying is, if this happened with the Kansas City Chiefs, Pat Mahomes, sidearming, throwing it deep, doing all this, peace sign, Tyreek Hill, Mr. Travis Kelce, okay, all that. If they happened on Chiefs, the internet would be broken. It would have been going wild. We would still be seeing clips from that game. Tua did the amazing, right? He did, nobody expected that. We thought the game was over. I personally was in the chat, what I'm saying, talking trash, talking about Tua this, Tua that, Tyreek Hill mad, woo. I guess this is a question for myself, just since I said that. Has Tua put the haters to sleep yet? Okay, I know it's week 2. As I always said, these are going to be overreactions, but with that game, with what Tua can do with some weapons, has he put the haters to sleep? Because not only did they have that comeback, they had that comeback against a quality team in who did they play? Wow. The Ravens. Wow, finish number 1. Number 2, Cardinals versus Raiders. Okay, I didn't watch this one because I was actually watching the Dolphins versus Ravens, but I was able to catch a little bit of the fourth, able to catch overtime, so I got the gist. But I was definitely on ESPN, so I knew it was a blowout. Because a part of me was like, man, do I want to watch this Dolphins versus Ravens, or do I want to watch this Cardinals versus Raiders? And then both of the games at the moment, were blowouts. So I was like, I'll just keep watching this. Cardinals are down 20-0 at half. Okay, now let's fast forward to the fourth. 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter for the Cardinals. Shout out Kyler Murray, all right, because Kyler Murray, he got a lot of slack on that contract. I think they overpaid him. I'll say it. Lamar need that kind of money. I don't know why Lamar ain't got paid. Kyler got paid. It's a conversation for a different day. They even put a clause that, you got to watch a certain amount of film hours, because what we seeing on that field, we don't know if you watching. Now, Kyler did say that is disrespectful. He said that. And guess what? He showed it. It was beneficial, because guess what? I done seen a lot of good throws. In fact, I've reacted to a best throw video, right? I've seen all of that. That ball he threw to A.J. Green in the back of the end zone to send the game into overtime, after he sat in the pocket. Great protection, but also they only sent 3. Of course, they got 8 drop back in coverage. So, great protection. But that window, that slither of space that he drilled that ball to A.J. Green in to send the game into overtime, then to score earlier, you know what I mean? I mean, hey, I'm saying the $250 million contract the man got, he earned it, obviously. And I think he showed it in a game like that, because for a team that has great starts, they're trying to stay on track until they get DeAndre Hopkins back. To fall down 0-2, and then maybe to get blown out in both of those games, it's not good for the morale. So Kyler Murray being the leader, picking the team up. It was a dime, and not only was it a dime, it capped off an 18-play drive. That's championship football. 18-play drive, and then not only that, but then he was able to put the ball in a window where only his guy could get it, right? Only his guy could get it. Let's go to overtime. Cardinals get the ball first. Cardinals fold. Momentum's on their side. They can't even go down and score. Hunter Renfrow. the Hunter Renfrow. All right, Clemson man caught the game winning touchdown. Some of the best, some of the shiftiest routes, some of the most sure hands in the NFL. Fumbles. Not once, but twice. Not only did he fumble twice, the last one resulted in a 57-yard scoop and score. Cardinals win in overtime in dramatic fashion after once trailing 20-0. You know what I mean? Raiders are 0-2. This new look Raiders are 0-2. Is there trouble in paradise? Or, as I've been saying, is it week 2? So everything is a tad bit of an overreaction. That is the question that has to be asked. That's the question I need answered because I don't know what I would say. Last but not least, let's go and give some credit to the boys. Let's give some credit to a guy that they call, or a guy who could be, a guy who may be the best quarterback in the league, Josh Allen and the Bills. Okay, the Bills dominating offense right now. Week 2 just ended. Week 3 starts on Thursday. This is Tuesday night. Are the Bills the favorite to win the Super Bowl? That's what I want to know. We've seen 2 weeks of football. We've seen what they did last year. Von Miller over there. Are the Bills the favorites to win the Super Bowl? 2 dominating wins, 2 MVP performances from their quarterback, Josh Allen. As I mentioned earlier, they got the 31-10 win over the Rams. Then they come up and smack the Titans. They just follow that beating up with another beating, 41-7 over the Titans. And then tack on 34 unanswered points. They're outscoring teams, They're outscoring teams 72-17 so far this season. Okay. Josh Allen has 17 incompletions, 614 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Stephon Diggs has 20 catches, 270 yards, 4 touchdowns. And those numbers are just through week 2. So, are the Bills the favorite to win the Super Bowl? Is Josh Allen the favorite to win the MVP? Drop it in the comments. All right, here we go, man. Our last little segment of the show. We got Performers of the Week. As I always say, the reason why it's not Players of the Week is because it can be a whole group. It could be a team's offense. It could be a team's defense. It could be a team's special teams. It could be the coaching staff. It could be whoever. They're performers. They're not just players. So here we go. Number 1, Jalen Hurts, right? 26 for 31. He only had 5 incompletions, 333 yards. He had a touchdown. He had an interception, but he also had 57 more rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground in a great Monday night win against the Vikings. Number 2, man of the hour, Josh Allen. 26 for 38, 317 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2-0 start. And number 3, of course, as we mentioned earlier, the Dolphins offense. Just to run through the numbers one more time real quick. 36 for 50 for Tua, 469 yards, 6 touchdowns. 11 catches for Waddle, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. 11 catches for Tyreek Hill, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. Those are your week 2 performers of the week, but also honorable mention. All right, we got 2 honorable mentions. 1, big play Slay, Darius Slay, to go along with Jalen Hurts, right? Great Monday night win. He had 6 targets when he was one-on-one with Justin Jefferson. That was the story of the night. No catches, 3 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. Just an all-out solid game. Vikings scored 7 points, I believe. Might have scored 1 late. I turned it off with like 5 minutes left in the fourth. So if they scored after that, I don't know. But they had like 7 points. Honorable mention number 2, the Dallas Cowboys defense. They had 6 sacks, 4 pass deflections, 9 QB hits, and like I said, 17 points allowed on a team who just went to the Super Bowl and on a team who has a great offense, and they score a lot of points, right? Those are your performers of the week. Those are your honorable mention for performers of the week. And that is a wrap for week 2. And as always, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.